Okay, got a new project here. It's a Suzuki Quadrunner 250. I'm not sure what year it is or anything, but apparently it just needs a fuel pump. But I'm going to go ahead and clean the carburetor out too and replace a few things. Try to fix some of this plastic. But we're going to try to get this thing going. First step, I'm going to take some of this plastic off so that I can get to the carburetor. I got the back plastics off. It wasn't too hard. So next, I'm going to do the front section, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you what I've got to do next. Okay, that wasn't too bad. That didn't take too long at all. It only had just a few bolts in it. But right here's the fuel pump. So I'm going to take this off, inspect it. I might try to see if I can't get it to work, but I don't know. I'm going to look at it and go from there. It looks kind of crusty under there, so it probably don't work. But anyways, I'll bring you guys back whenever I get this figured out. Okay. I took the fuel pump apart. I think I'll have to check that for pinholes or anything, but I can see why it wasn't working. It's full of schmoo, and goo. That's nasty. That would cause it not to work. Let me get all this cleaned out and I'll bring you guys right back. Okay, so I got it apart, kind of blew it off a little bit, got some of the gunk out of there, but here's the other side. So there's the front side, and there's the back side. But I believe I may be able to just clean this up, and it should work. What makes it not work are these little plastic rings here. If they fold up and don't seal, see how it's folded up? That'll keep it from working properly, but I think I may be able to pull these out and I may be able to fix that. Clean these up a little bit. It's worth a shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a heat gun to this thing and it'll relax it and make it a lot straighter. I got the fuel pump back on. It's cleaned up. We're going to see if it'll work. I think it will. I'm pretty sure it will. Hopefully, it'll work. But the next step is going to be taking this carburetor off, which is kind of a task, but it's way down in there. But that's going to be the next step. It's pulling this carburetor off and cleaning it. Because if it's anything like that fuel pump, it's probably going to be pretty bad. So that's going to be the next step. Okay, got the carburetor off. She's pretty crusty, but inside looks pretty good. Not too bad. But that could be a different story down in the bottom of this bowl here. So that vacuum chamber's got a dent in it. That's where the slide for the throttle's at. So okay, well, what I'm gonna do is clean everything up real good before I crack it open. I'm just gonna kind of go through and get some of this crust off, and then I'll I'll bring you guys back. So I had a little catastrophe last night. I went to check the needle in the seat and broke the arm off that holds the float on. So I had to make something to hold that on. That took about all day. That was a mess. That was a nightmare. But I think it'll work. But anyways, you see that down in there? That's where your needle and seat go. And there's a screen right there. All that trash is built up right there. And that's why it wasn't getting any fuel. It's stopped up with, looks to be like sawdust or something. But yeah, if you guys tear apart a carburetor, make sure you check your screen where your needle and seat go. This is the seat. And then this right here, that's the needle. So that goes in there, and that's what lets fuel in the carburetor. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this thing out and put it all back together and bring it back whenever all that's done. Okay. There we go. Oh, yeah. That's a little dirty in there. And yeah, it looks to be in good shape. See, it sucks in air through this port somewhere. It causes a vacuum in here. And it causes a vacuum in here. And that's what causes this to pick up. That's what gives it fuel. The further up that is, the more fuel. But I'm going to spray this out. Clean this up a little bit. Let me clean this up real quick. Okay, much better. Now, I think I'm gonna pull this off. Just like so. Okay. That goes in there. Like that. That goes in there. Whoops, got it on backwards. I think. No, that's right. Yeah, that right there goes like that. Okay. So, what I'm gonna do, I found that this is wiggly. This is, I don't know if that's supposed to be like that. So I'm gonna put this on right now for now, and I'm gonna get four new screws and another one of these caps. Okay, I've got it all back together except for this boot right here. I don't have any clamps. I've tried just about everything I can try to get it on there. It won't go on there. You can even see down in there, it's just wanting to slide off. It's not even on the carburetor really. I got a bunch of parts supposed to be coming in, so supposed to be getting a battery, an air filter, and the little brackets to hold the air filter in, oil filter, goes down there. What else? Went ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and maybe get one of these petcock fuel pumps thingies, because they're notorious to go bad. So I believe we got this fixed, so, but I'll be able to test to make sure. I can also put a fuel filter on it right here. That way, I like putting them on these because that way you can see if you're getting fuel or not. You can see this kind of pulsating. You can see fuel coming in. I like putting one right there. It's just really handy because these fuel pumps are notorious for going bad. Okay, we've done a lot here, so I'm gonna try to go over some of this stuff. I've got the plastic on. I fixed the frame, which it was all chewed up right there. I'm not sure what happened, but I welded some of it back and put a little paint on it. But I'm pulling the bumper back in shape and getting it bolted down. I've got a bolt here, a bolt there, a bolt right there now, and a bolt over here. And before, it only had like one bolt in it, or 2 bolts. I got 4 bolts in it so far, and I like a bolt under this and a bolt under that, and that'll have the rack bolted down. So I'm gonna work on that. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that, but it's coming together pretty good. The back won't be too bad. Basically, all I gotta do on it is just put some washers on it and maybe 2 bolts in the back. But the front, this rack right here is kind of crooked, so I may get my big boy come along out and pull that thing down. Okay, and then if this is up a little bit too far, I can see that that's bent. You can definitely see that that top's bent up. So I guess once we get it, put it back down, put it back together and bolt it up, may just give that a little taparoni. But let me get these 2 bolts here in and I'll bring you guys back. Okay, it's been a few weeks, I guess, since we last worked on this little 4-wheeler. Not sure where I left off at, but either way, we had to have some parts, and most of them's come in. So let's go over the parts that I got and put them on. So I got a new rubber boot that connects the carburetor to the air box, because that one, the one that's on it, it has shrank and won't fit, and that's pretty important. And then here's a new petcock. It's got a little it actually has a little fuel pump inside of here, so it's actually got 2 fuel pumps. So that's kind of important too. And then we got a new breather, and this kit also came with the little mounting hardware and the screen inside, so that's pretty handy. Then we got a new oil filter, however you say it. New one of those. It's only like $7 on Amazon. And then another thing we got some oil. This is from the Suzuki dealership. Then we got a battery, and I was gonna want to talk about this. Okay, so here's the battery that I decided to get for this. This is a gel battery. It's a maintenance-free gel battery, and I've used one to have the same exact battery in my four-wheeler, and I've had it in there for close to 2 years now, maybe even 3. And I can tell you, these batteries are freaking awesome. I left the key on, and it was completely dead. Usually, whenever you kill a battery like that, it kind of takes a little bit of the life away, but these gel batteries are pretty strong. I mean, I run a winch. It's got a winch on it, so that also drains your battery. And also, for the first 6 months of it, I didn't even know that my charging system didn't even work. So apparently, I'd been using it for 6 months and didn't even had my four-wheeler wasn't even charging. So I fixed that problem, and there's 2 strikes against a normal battery because it died twice, and it's still kicking strong. I can't really recommend these enough. It's the Mighty Max battery. They're just a generic, or actually, I don't know if it's generic name brand or what, but they're really good batteries, and they're cheap. They're really cheap. And this is their card that was in there in the box. So for this first step, we're going to take this old air filter out. As you can see, it's pretty clapped out. We're going to take this out. Now, when you get the kit, this little screen is outside of the box in another separate packaging. So you got to put that in there, and it's kind of oval shaped. So you can see it inside of here. It's oval shaped so that it fits this right here. And I'm not really sure, but I think this little foam is supposed to protrude out just a bit. I'm guessing. So you want to get that fluffed out like that right there. Yeah, just like that. So it makes a good seal against the air box. So second part of this is this little clip here. Some of these, I mean, some of this right here, what I'm showing you, it might not apply to you, but you know, it probably will for somebody. So that's why I'm showing it. So this clip, these little notches, as you can see, they're kind of forked like that right there. You want to put them going up. So this goes in that hole right there. It's threaded in there, just like so. And the ovalness is to the top. So you want to put that just like that. And then screw it in. Okay, so it's on there pretty tight. So what you want to do is stick it in there, put that up to the top, and then push it in there, just like that. And then this is the air filter keeper. It's kind of wedged a little bit, wedge shape. And then that's going to go in these grooves right here. Just stick it in there like that, and just push it down. And there it is. Air filter in. Done. Okay, let's move on to something else. I think I'm going to do this air boot, this breather boot thingy, because I'm already here. So I'll do that next. It looks like that this boot is on here, but it's not. There's a gap at the bottom. And see, there's a bolt. There's 2 bolts on the back side of this air box back here that kind of pull it this way. So like when it's attached like it is now, it was separating from the carburetor. It was pulling them apart. It won't stay. So that's the reason for that little boot. I'll get you, see if I can get a little bit closer in there, show you. Okay, so as you can see, that's not even really on there very good. It's clamped here. The breather box is where it needs to be. The carburetor is where it needs to be for the most part. And still yet, on this side, got a gap right there. So that's not good. So that's what we're trying to fix. I may have showed this before, but if I do, I'll edit it out or whatever. But okay, let's get this thing on there. Okay, I guess the first step would be to get the old one off. So, okay, so I got all 3 bolts out. And what you want to do is you want to push down and out, just like that. And that'll let this whole breather box assembly move. So now I can just wiggle this little thing here and pull that right there off. So there it is. Now on this new one, there's a little locating tab that's got to go up. Same deal. There's up and down, and that's up and down. It's kind of at an angle there. So let's get this done in here. Just like so. Well, I may flip these around where I can get to them better. Yeah, that's much better. So we'll stick that on there. Where's the tab at? There it is. So that's going to go up. Okay, I'm just going to cram it down in there now. Okay. I'll just bring you guys back whenever I get this finished, okay? And I'll tell you how I did it. Okay, I finally got it. So what I ended up having to do was pull the carburetor out, and I put the boot on this part, put it in, and then I just wedged the carburetor in between these 2 parts, this one and the other one. It was still kind of a pain because this is, I mean, it's the right size and it's new, it's stiff. So okay, so let me on to the next thing. Let me put this back together. I gotta tighten some screws, put these bolts back in over here, and I'll bring you guys back whenever I get that finished. Okay, so next we're gonna work on getting this new fuel petcock on there. This is the vacuum coming from the carburetor. I've got it off, but I'll have to probably get this thing out before I can get this one off. That one's pretty tough. That's the actual fuel supply to the secondary fuel pump. So let's break these loose if I can. Yeah, there it goes. I'll let it trickle. Okay. Okay, now the gas is finished draining. So now I'm just gonna take this thing off here and we'll swap it out. Channels. Okay. Well, there we have it. So you can see this one here has two, actually has two tubes sticking out. This one right here is your fuel on setting. So if you see right here, we got, it's got a glare. Let's see. Okay. So down here at the bottom, it says on. So when it's on, it's running through this long tube here. And when you put it to reserve, which is right there, it's running through the short tube. So that means like when you run out of gas, you don't get stranded because you still got a little bit of fuel to come out of it yet. So that's the purpose of that. So I'm going to stick this back in here and hook all this back up, and we'll work on something else. Okay, so I just got the battery hooked up, and I had to fix a little wire. Had to put an end on it right there. I'm going to put some heat shrink on there once all these gas fumes and all that. I don't want to burn nothing down. So initially I'd forgot to plug something in right here so that it was a neutral switch. I forgot to plug that in. I was just kind of in here messing around with it, but now we got a different problem. So when you press the starter button, it just clicks. I'm assuming it's the starter because I can hear the solenoid clicking, obviously. But I know that's not always the case, but let me dig into this a little bit and I'll bring you guys back whenever I get something. Okay, I got the starter off. It was looking pretty burnt. It doesn't look good in there. The brushes, I'm not really sure if they're even in there still. I can see them, but I don't know if they're pushing out. I don't know if there's any left, but I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to clean everything up and the best that I can, and we'll put it back together and see if it works. I'll bring you back whenever I get all that finished. Okay, I got the oil filter in and the oil changed. I don't know if you can see the level right there. That's 3.5 quarts of oil, and that put it right at about where it's supposed to be. And we can always add more to it if we need to. So that leaves the starter issue. And what I did, and I took the brushes out of it and put it into that one, and it's just temporary because I had to file them down to get them to fit and everything else. But I soldered it onto the main post, which isn't ideal. But now whenever I turn the key on at the starter, it runs. Granted, I did have to purge the fuel system. So the way you do that on these is you put see where it says PRI, you put that to prime, and you can either suck through that or you just let it sit there for a little bit, or you can crank it, but that's just to get the fuel moving a lot quicker up to the carburetor. And since we added this fuel filter, now we can see if we're getting fuel or not. And from what I can see, when I start it, that fuel pump fix that we did worked out pretty good. I mean, it's pulsing just exactly the way it's supposed to. Everything's working good. So the only thing is, I ordered a starter. It'll be here in a couple days. It wasn't really that expensive. Okay. I'll bring you back whenever the starter comes in. Okay, so it's been a couple days. Starters come in. Got the starter. And also the headlights have come in. They come with mounting brackets, hardware, and then the headlight itself. These are actually really nice headlights. I got a set of these on my four-wheeler too. I really like them. They're cheap as crap. I don't see how they make them that cheap, and they're pretty good. Okay, so let me get the starter on here. You probably can't see what I'm doing here. There's a bolt right there. Taking that out. Okay, so this thing should just slide right out now. It's a tough fit, but it can be done. Okay, let's get the other one back in there. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on this O-ring right here. That'll make it a little bit easier to get in and out. Okay. Just got a little bit of grease on there, and just something to keep that O-ring from sticking in there. And it's in there. Looks good. There's the starter on. Okay, so I got the plastic just sitting on there. I got the rack just sitting on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook all this back together and bolt everything up, and I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to do the headlights. Yeah. Cool. Get you a better look here. Okay. Let's see. I got the holes drilled for the lights right here, and then I got a couple, holes for pop rivets drilled in there. So let's see how this does. Not sure if I can get in here to it or not. Let's see. Yeah, believe that'll work. Okay. Well, let me put a couple pop rivets in there, and I'll bring you guys back when I get all that pop riveted up. Okay, there's the pop rivets in there. Looking pretty good. This plastic here is broke, obviously. It just moves back and forth. I'm going to try to use my soldering iron and try to melt some of this back together so it'll hold a little bit better. Mainly to get it out of the way of the light. So if I can get all that smushed back together, and I know that's not the proper way to do things, but I got to try something. It's kind of getting in the way of everything. Plus it needs a little bit more support right there. So let me try that, and I'll bring you guys back when I get that finished. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah. Got her kind of welded back together. It looks like hammered dog crap on camera, but it really don't look that bad. I don't know why it looks so predominant, but I believe that'll fix it. I mean, it's still probably going to crack, but in the meantime, I'll at least hold it out of the way of her light. And, the proper way to do this would be with a flatten iron and all that. I need to get one. I don't have one, but that's the best I can do right now. So next thing I'm going to do is put the lights in the holes. They go in this hole here and in that hole right there. So let me get them mounted up, and I'll bring you back and we'll talk about the wiring. Okay. Got the lights mounted in there temporarily. Looks pretty good. One thing I forgot to do is paint this daggone bracket. I forgot to paint it. So I may take that thing back off and paint it. But the wiring, so what I'm going to do is, since this four-wheeler has high and low beams on the switch here, so you got high and low. So each one of those is just 12 volts. Okay, here we go. Here's the wiring harness all made up. The green and the black go to the auxiliary light. I got it shrink wrapped off so it don't short out on anything. As you can see, the ground right there has two wires coming out of it. They split off to the yellow and the black here. So this yellow and black here will go to the two headlights that we just put in. Okay, so let me get this little wiring harness here run down to the lights, and we'll figure it out from there. Okay, here we have it. It's all wired up now. I got them tucked in behind these little brackets. Looks pretty good. It's not too bad. So the next thing that I'm going to do is adjust the headlights. Okay, you guys, that's it. We got her all back together, got it running. It runs really good. I'm happy with it. As you can see, we're just test driving it right now, making sure there's nothing wrong with the carburetor, because those carburetors they're kind of tricky, and seems to be dialed in pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm sure the guy that I'm doing this for, he'll be happy with it too. It runs, it drives, it does what it's supposed to. Okay, here we go. There it is. I did take that bracket off last night, paint it. I couldn't stand it. It was killing me. I had to paint it. I can't believe I did that. But anyways, there's the headlights in. To turn them on, turn the switch to lights, and then there you go. Got lights. These Nilight brand, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Not sponsored or anything like that, but I have bought a couple sets of these. They are pretty nice. I got a set of these on both my four-wheelers, and the one I've had on there for almost 4 years and hadn't had any trouble with it. They've been wet, they've been hit by trees. Pretty durable. So overall, we did a battery, we did lights, worked on the carburetor, we put an air filter in it. I still don't have a cover for it, but I don't know, I may try to find one or try to make one. But we put a rubber boot on, a fuel filter. We worked on the fuel pump, which is under there. We changed the oil in the filter. And I believe that's it. I believe that's all that we did. But it's running pretty good now. I can't complain. I mean, it still needs some things. It needs the brakes going through. And then later, we're going to do a seat cover, hopefully, or something. I got to figure something out with the seat cover. I think you can buy them, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check. Okay. Well, appreciate you guys watching. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. All that good stuff, if you want to. It's much appreciated. And we'll catch you on the next one. Till next time, we'll see you later.